I'm Steve Sullivan, Director of Miami University's Hefner Museum of Natural History. Spring was one of my favorite times of year, especially because of all the cool wildflowers that are in bloom. Let's take a tour of some of our local natural areas, including Hueston Woods and Peffer Park, and other places that aren't so far from the university, as a way to see beautiful natural organisms that show up only for a few brief weeks every spring.
We're lucky here in Oxford to have Hueston Woods. Here we'll just wander down a few trails and see what kind of cool flowers we can find. Just head out to whatever forest is near you, even in your own backyard, and see what's crawling around, what's blooming, what's flying by. The leaf litter here is part of the native condition. When we imported European earthworms that are not native to this region, earthworms in general are not native to this region because the glaciers scraped them all away, and those worms will eat all of the leaves. Part of the reason so many wildflowers can survive here is because the earthworms are not here, and the shrubs have not invaded, which also support the earthworms with the nutrients from their leaves. These little umbrellas are May apples. They will soon mature and cover this area with their leaves, and the flowers will be right underneath those leaves, hidden from the view of passing hikers unless you pause to look. Trout lilies are beautiful flowers. They haven't bloomed yet this year, but I think their leaves are every bit as beautiful as a flower. You see the 3 leaves. They will bloom a little bit later. And here's a beautiful water leaf. And you can tell this is a trillium because of the 3 leaves, but different than that other species. Many trillium are white. You can see this one will be a beautiful burgundy color. And there's a spring beauty being pollinated by a native bee. Dutchman's breeches, because back when we were giving common names to North American wildflowers, Dutchman wore pants that, if you turn that flower upside down, were kind of bloomer-like like that. Here's a flower that looks kind of like spring beauty, but look at those jaggedy cut-type leaves. This is cutleaf toothwort. Although all of these flowers are native to our region, they can sometimes be hard to find. That's because the ways that we maintain our yards, as well as invasive species such as honeysuckle and native species such as deer, can all negatively impact native species. When we fertilize our yards heavily or use pesticides or herbicides, this will usually kill most of the native ephemeral flowers. Invasive species like honeysuckle will simply take over the soil and nutrients and sunlight necessary for these flowers to survive. Maintaining natural spaces in a healthy way is actually quite challenging. Species like honeysuckle and buckthorn will invade a space without any human intervention and can take over and destroy the natural ecologies and species that live there. However, removing these things takes a lot of labor, and you can supply some of that labor. There are lots of different conservation groups in your area that specialize in taking care of natural spaces, and seasonally will have volunteer opportunities where you can go in and help cut and haul brush or do other activities to help maintain a natural ecosystem. I hope you'll invest some of your time every year in helping to maintain beautiful spaces like this near your home. Well, thanks everybody for joining me on this hike and for all your questions about natural history, diversity, and evolution. I hope you'll send in more questions as the weeks go by.